Today I have a really fun video planned for you all. I'm actually going to take you into Dollar Tree and show you some of the Crafter Square items. All Dollar Trees are not created equal. Some have the Crafter Square, which is like a full section of all the crafty wood / paint items. And then like my local Dollar Tree has a tiny little section with just a few things like the wood letters or the painting trays. So I do have to travel about 45 minutes to get everything, or like a Dollar Tree with a full Crafter Square. And someone actually left a comment on a video recently that said if you get online that dollartree.com will actually tell you which Dollar Trees have the Crafter Square in them. So I recommend going and trying that out and seeing if you can find that. I do want to look that up and confirm that and let you all know. But after I do go to my Dollar Tree that is out of my town, and they have all of these awesome looking products that are really awesome for $1. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's better just to go to your local craft store or go to Walmart and get a brand name that you know is gonna work. But in today's video, I'm gonna be making DIY projects using all of these Crafter Square items and letting you know my honest opinion on them and trying them out on camera to see how they work or not. I challenged myself to make a DIY where I could use as many of these products as possible, but then there are going to be some leftover things that I couldn't use, so I am going to just try to test them out at the end and use as many things as I can. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up, it really helps my channel to grow, and let's jump on into testing all of Dollar Tree's Crafter Square craft supply items. So first, I'm taking you into my favorite Dollar Tree that has the largest Crafter Square in my area. It is so fun. Like I say, I do have to travel a little bit to get here, but it's so fun going and stocking up on all of these awesome craft supplies. So this Dollar Tree has tons of small little unfinished wood pieces that are perfect for all of your crafting needs. They have tons of frames and stickers and little decals and tags. I was so excited, like I just instantly started throwing things in my cart, so I was just so thrilled to be able to find this Dollar Tree. I am loving all of those little wooden birdhouses and little items like that. And then moving on down the aisle, they have a ton of actually like painting supplies. I was super excited to find these nicer paintbrushes. My Dollar Tree has never carried any this nice. I always pick mine up from Walmart and these look really similar, so I'm excited to try those out. And then I grabbed some paint. These are the canvases I use in all of my DIYs. I get asked what do they look like, and they are just in these little cardboard bins. And then there's more washable paint. I didn't find a ton of craft paint or the chalkboard paint that I was dying to find. They also have a ton of little supplies that I just thought would be super fun to test out and bring you along as I try out all of these fun new craft supplies. Okay, so this is most of the Dollar Tree craft supply items that I made at home with. These are some items that are brand new that I've never tried before, along with some of my favorites. I always love using those little razor blades on scratching off like the stickers on Dollar Tree items. And then I picked up a ton of new glues that I thought would be fun to try out and see which one is the best. And then just a ton of just random items that I do want to test out on my DIY. So let's go ahead and jump on into the DIY and see how all of these items are working. I thought I would try to use up some of this random leftover Valentine stuff that I had on hand while we make this into something adorable and trying out all of these new products. So the first thing I'm testing is this paint from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and picked this up in neutral colors. This is the brand Praying, and this is a tempera paint, which means it is a water-based paint, and I didn't expect a ton of coverage going in, so we'll test that. I picked up those paintbrushes I showed you before, and then one of these roller paint sets. You get a pair of gloves, a paintbrush, a roller, and the little tray, all for $1, so I thought that was a great deal and fun to try out. And then, like I was telling you, I picked up some glue. They have actually woodworking glue, so I thought this would be really cool to glue on all of the little wood pieces that I did pick up from Dollar Tree. They have some of their own sandpaper, which I was excited to find. So we'll get into all of this and try it out, and then stay tuned because there is tons of more products to test. This is just what I knew I would be using at first. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out this little envelope that you were supposed to paint. It's kind of like a little kid's craft, but I thought this would be the perfect little square wood piece. And then I'm flipping over this sign, and I'll mess with that glitter later. I always sand it off and paint the back, or just hot glue some brown craft paper on the back just to cover that up to give it more of a finished look. So starting with the brown paint, and like I say, this is water-based, so I knew it would be really thin and not as great as my everyday acrylic or chalk paint, but still I thought it would be fun to test this out and try making actual DIY home decor with all of these products. So because this is the largest surface area I will be painting today, I wanted to go ahead and try out that roller. I love that this comes with a pair of gloves, and these were actually really nice. Sometimes you can't even get like cheap gloves on, or they instantly rip, but these were actually good quality. The little paint tray was a little wobbly, but that's normal. It's just something that you can make disposable after you use it. And then the roller and the brush seemed like they were pretty much standard, and I dumped out way too much paint, but I wanted to give this a fair run and really make sure that I got my roller coated. And putting this on, this roller is kind of more like a sponge roller, so it is really texturized. I do have a lot of little bubbles in there, but so far I feel like the roller is rolling this on really nicely, and I was excited with the color of the brown paint, but just wait, you'll have to see what it looks like when it dries. I knew going in, since this was a water-based paint, I would struggle a little bit with coverage, so that's why I'm using my heat gun in between each coat so I could put on several coats. I think it has some residue glitter on there from like them stacking so many signs together, so that's why the wording was showing up. But after this was drying, I thought it was just soaking so much into that material that Dollar Tree uses for these signs that it wasn't really showing up the darker brown that it was going on. But then I soon realized that it was just drying that much lighter, making like a powdery finish. So I just put on a few more layers and just let it dry as is, knowing I would have to add in some black later on to darken this up. Moving on to the next color, I chose black, and they have these in a ton of different colors. I just picked the neutral colors, but I ended up doing like 3 coats of this black because no matter how many times that I layered it really thick on there, you could still kind of see the wood grain underneath. So I was worried about that text, but it was black, so it did at least kind of blend in with the black, and you wasn't able to see it underneath. So now testing out these brushes, I was so impressed and so excited that Dollar Tree actually has these, even though I buy the larger value packs at Walmart, and you get more bang for your buck because you're getting more brushes for less money than if you bought these at Dollar Tree for $1 each. That is a great deal, but I buy those large packs because they do have these medium-sized paintbrushes in there, which are my favorite. So it still kind of is a better deal if you are getting the brushes you want that you can go pick out for $1 at Dollar Tree. Plus you get that tiny little brush, which is so nice to have for filling in text or little polka dots. So as you can see, the wood grain is still showing through, so I did do several coats of this black paint. It still kind of dried more of like a charcoal gray color, but I was still happy just for $1, and you get a lot of paint for $1, that I was still able to use this on this project. So my opinion for this paint is if you don't have any other option, it is a great bang for your buck to pick up this $1 paint that you can make work for DIY farmhouse projects. I love the matte finish and the amount of paint that you do get for the $1, but just because you get way more coverage with chalk paint or acrylic paint, not because of the brand or anything, but just because of the type of paint, that's what I would originally pick. So I did like the paint and love the brushes, but moving on to the next step, I did want to darken this sign up a little bit and make it have more of my rustic weathered look. I definitely needed some dry brushing, so I didn't want to put pure black on there, even though since it dries gray, it would have worked. I mixed in a little bit of black with this brown color. It mixed really nicely because, like I say, these are water-based, so they just mixed really good. And then I actually just kind of paid attention to the edges and brushed this along. It goes on a lot darker than it dries, so I was kind of nervous about applying too much at first, but then I soon realized after it was drying, I struggled to even get it to show up, so I do add a little bit of extra black in it later on.
Nobody's breaking your spirit. You're looking so fine. Nobody's breaking your you're keeping up with steps I take, so we just...
I was really happy with how all of that dry brushing dried, and I feel like it just kind of blended in and looks really realistic, so I'm really happy with that. I wanted them to look like real planks, so I did use my Sharpie and ruler to make actual lines, and then I did want this to look really rustic and fade out those lines a little bit. So testing out some of Dollar Tree's sandpaper, I got really busy on trying to make this work.
Like no one's watching. So call me out, baby.
My thoughts on the sandpaper was I would rather go to a hardware store and pick out my own. It just felt like softer paper. They had a couple of different grit sizes, but even though whenever I upped that, I still feel like it just wasn't etching into the wood like my high quality sandpaper. So this is something I probably won't be repurchasing again. I don't feel like it really was stiff enough paper, and then like I say, I don't feel like it really scratched into the sign like I usually do on all my farmhouse decor. But it did do enough to lift up some of the paint, so I did have to take a wipe and try to remove all of that excess paint that was kind of coming up because it was more of a powdery finish. And then I'm going to apply this little chalkboard on here. I attempted to use this woodworking glue. So I followed the directions. It said add desired amount and press firmly for 30 minutes. Obviously I couldn't stand here for 30 minutes, so I do apply some weight onto this. And it is kind of hard to judge on pieces like this because Dollar Tree pieces are not always perfectly straight and flat. Sometimes they are warped a little bit. But it did seem like after I added this glue that I don't know if the sign warped up a little bit or if the glue just didn't hold it down as nicely. But it still had some gaps in between both pieces of the wood. So I did end up taking some of Dollar Tree's hot glue and putting in between that. To add the hot glue, I will be testing the Crafter's Square large glue sticks. These are the full-size glue sticks, and you get a 5-pack for $1, which seems like a decent price if you just needed these really quick. I like purchasing the large packs at Walmart, and that would be the best value pack. But if you did just need these in a hurry or to be convenient, I think that's an okay price. I had to empty out my glue stick that was in there. These are just the AdTech ones from Walmart. And then I was able to load it with my Dollar Tree glue stick. And to fully test this, I wanted to add a lot of little pieces on here. So I thought this would be a perfect time to add all these little boxwood pieces. I pulled these off of a boxwood floral pick from Walmart. And then I'm putting together a little burlap bow so that I will be able to hot glue some different material onto this sign. My review of these glue sticks would be that they worked as expected. They melted in the glue gun the same as my normal ones. The only thing that was a tad bit different was it dried cloudy on my projects versus my clear ones from Walmart, but you can see that the actual glue stick itself before it's melted has more of like a white cloudy finish to it, and then the ones that I do purchase at Walmart are clear. So I kind of like the clear better. It just doesn't let the glue show up as much on my projects. But gluing this bow and these greenery pieces down, everything is stuck there really nicely. I even tried to pull very hard on them and they didn't pop off. So this is good glue. The next thing I'm doing is using Dollar Tree letters, and I wanted to spell the word blessed, and I'm going to paint those white and hot glue those down on this sign as well. I really don't enjoy painting these little letters. I feel like it just pulls up in between every little corner that it has. Not that it's anybody's fault, this can't be helped. I just don't enjoy painting them. Spray painting them might work, but I'm worried they will fly around. Although I have done it before. So I pretty much just kind of went over the top of these really lightly and didn't worry about painting the edges perfect. I went ahead and glued those down. And then Dollar Tree has this glue residue eraser, and I wanted to try it. I got a tiny bit of that wood glue on my brown paint, so I wanted to see if it would remove it, and it didn't touch it. And then I put a little hot glue on this plasticky piece to see if it would kind of peel it off, and also nothing happened. So I'm not sure like what type of glue. You'll have to let me know in the comments like what I should try to use it on. But I did find out that if I have any kind of like glue residue on my table, that it kind of helps peel that up just a little bit. But this is something that I would say leave it. It doesn't work as I would have expected, or I couldn't find any glue that I could get it to peel up or remove any residue off. So you'll have to leave in the comments down below if you've had any luck using this glue eraser. While I'm testing out all of these products, I do want this sign to be really pretty and something that I am going to use. I wanted to add some extra detail to it, so using Dollar Tree twine, which I do enjoy using this twine because it's not really hairy and it's really kind of thin and compacted together, so I really enjoy using it. But I like to wrap the bottom of my signs. It just adds some extra detail to it. I just go ahead and dab some hot glue in the back, and then like I say, I put a little hot glue because this sign was wanting to pop up even though I did fully let it dry like the bottle said. But it could have been because that little envelope piece of wood could have been a little bit warped. I'm not sure. So the next thing I found at Dollar Tree were these chalk writers. I originally thought whenever I purchased these were chalk markers, but I am so happy when I got home I found out that these were actually chalk writers, which mean it kind of has more of like a pasty chalk in there, and I feel like these write so smooth and I love them so much more than markers. So I was just kind of playing at first and going to test these out. They worked perfectly as expected. They did a really good job of showing up on my black, and this was not what I was going to put on my sign at all. Like I say, I was just playing and I just couldn't get it off to put what I really wanted on there, and I should have knew this in the beginning. This is a water-based paint that's really powdery, so it probably just absorbed a lot of the paint. So I am going to be using some of my chalk paint and kind of go over that so that I can put something on it that I want to keep on there.
That you think about me, but I don't want to know the truth. I hear the things that they say.
I wanted to do a little hand-drawn wreath, so I'm using the bottom of this candle holder and drawing the perfect circle because there is no way I could get my circle to look that good. And then I'm going to go in and add some little leaves all in the same direction. These don't have to be very detailed or anything, but I just think it looks so nice whenever you can make little hand-drawn wreaths like this.
I break these walls too, and I would change just for you.
After adding the initial in the center, I think this completed this sign. I think it turned out beautiful using Dollar Tree items and just a gorgeous piece that I will be proud to display in my home. Moving on to some more products, since I couldn't incorporate all of these into the DIY, I wanted to go ahead and just share on some scrap pieces how well these worked. The first thing I was excited to try out was this little paint set, and these are kind of like watercolors, so you dip your paintbrush in the water and then put it on the paints and then you can paint with it. I always loved using these when I was younger. A lot of the times whenever you purchase these, they do not work very well, so I was excited to see how these worked. And I was so surprised. You do have to add a ton of water on there the first time just to make sure that it gets really saturated, but these are like the most vibrant, beautiful coverage watercolors that I have ever found in a cheap little palette like this. My daughter went crazy over these and was just so happy with how well that they worked. Most of the time these paints just get really watery and don't show up very well, so they're not very pigmented, but these were, and the colors were so vibrant and gorgeous. I love that neon pink color.
And I break these walls too. I would change just for you.
So my honest opinion on these are to pick these up. These are gorgeous and fun to play with. This would be so relaxing just painting anything, or would make an awesome stocking stuffer or Easter basket filler. To test out some more of their glue, I'm using this large wooden heart as the background and then removing the little adhesive pieces that come on it. I wanted to use some different glues to try to see how fast that they were drying or how much of a hold each of them had. So on the first one, this just says craft glue, and they don't really specify exactly what each of these are supposed to be used on. So I know this is wood, so they may not all be intended for that, but I'm going to go ahead and let that dry a few minutes. I also was excited to test out these furniture scratch markers or floor scratch markers. They come in 3 colors, and I was so surprised by how well that they saturated the wood in this heart, so I really feel like these would work. I couldn't find any places on my furniture. Most of my entryway tables are like a white color, and then I have newer wood ones, so I didn't have any place to try these on, but this like really saturated the wooden heart, and I could see how these would work so nice if you had like a wood piece exposed underneath a dark stain, how these could blend them in. They come in 3 different colors, a mahogany, black, and a walnut brown color, and I think that these would work really good, and I was shocked by how they weren't like really dry or anything, how they did saturate the wood. The next thing I do is label my little places where I wanted to glue down each of these hearts to test this glue, so I didn't forget where I was gluing each one. I went ahead and used this woodworking glue again. I got way too much, so I just am trying to dab off a little bit, but I wanted to give this another fair shot. And then the center one is this tacky glue, which I have used before and have seen several YouTubers using this a lot, so it must work pretty good. While I'm letting that dry, I wanted to try out a few more things. The first thing are these little finger protectors. A lot of my subscribers have told me about these, and even one of my sweet subscribers have sent me a pack of these before. And this is just something like I wouldn't wear all the time, but if you were like doing some teeny tiny little pieces that were hot gluing together and they were exposed, like you can stick your finger in these protectors and directly into a big puddle of hot glue, and it does not get hot at all. You also could just hold these in your hand and kind of press down things, and I've also heard people kind of recommend using like a silicone spatula from Dollar Tree would work as well. So these are a good buy if that's something that you feel like you would use a lot. I also picked up some of these magnetic buttons. They come with this little metal disc, and right in the package I can already tell that these magnets are pretty strong because the packages are wanting to stick together, but you can tell that they just stick really well and they're not falling off or anything, so I feel like these would be great DIY craft products.
You had me at hello.
These little round sponges are not technically craft products, but I thought that they would be fun to try because I remember back in the day whenever I used to set up at craft shows, I would use sponges a lot to get different textures on items. So I'm just using some purple paint so it would kind of pop up off of this sign. I'm applying it to the lighter wood as well as this darker piece that I have stained, and I was thinking those markers would work perfect on staining little hearts like that. And I just dabbed this on there, and I just love the texture of it. This would work perfect on how we can like dab on the elephant gray color to galvanize products. This would be a really pretty textured look, so I might try that. It looks like the wood glue is actually drying a lot faster, but I will be keep checking back in on that. I wanted to show a few other things I had found. This pack of 5 art brushes. I didn't get to try these today, but these look like a really great deal. They also have this stencil brush. You'll have to let us know in the comments down below for everyone to read if you've tried out any of these products that you love or hate, or any of these that I didn't get to use today. But I thought this stencil brush would be something really fun to try out with some of my Dollar Tree stencils. I was so excited whenever I found all of this yarn and string from Dollar Tree. They had gorgeous colors in a couple of different styles, and I can just see myself using this all year. So I was so excited. If you see this, I would go ahead and stock up on it because I don't think that it's going to last very long. But just super excited to find these different styles and all of these colors.
I don't need nobody else.
And then what I'm most excited about in this crafter square is all of this unfinished wood craft supply pieces. These are gorgeous. I've used at home on several projects. And then I picked up this little pineapple, which I thought would be cute on a little summer sign. These birdhouses that I have some plans for. They have arrows that are long and skinny, and then these other arrows that I turned into the farmhouse house. They have these thick little chunky stars that I loved. The photo frames, just tons. The options are endless. I didn't purchase everything. They had a ton of items that would be perfect for little kids to craft with. My girls love crafting every single day, so I always pick them up several things to paint. And then I love these little wood pieces that would be perfect to add into the front of another project and make them look more high-end. I also love those little wooden flowers. And then they also had this little dry erase board that I thought would be perfect to set by like some flowers or at a craft show or baked goods, a bake sale. So just tons of different items. I just think Dollar Tree has stepped it up so much. I wanted to show these again. I get asked a lot about these little plastic palettes that I use, and these are just really inexpensive and you can throw them away if they get ruined, or they do wash up really nicely. And then going back to the glue, after setting for a while, all of these dried, and I think they all were pretty much equal. I tried to pop all of these hearts off of that larger piece, and they did not come off after they were completely dry. I do feel like the tacky glue was the one that took the longest to dry and maybe not hold as good, but they all seem like really great options. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun testing out all of these products. And like I say, some of them I liked and some of them I didn't. And you'll have to let me know down in the comments below if there's any kind of crafting supply that I missed. Even if it's not from Dollar Tree, what is some items that you haven't purchased yet that you kind of want me to test out? That would be a really fun video. So leave that down in the comments below. But I had a lot of fun, like I say, testing all of these and just kind of letting you know my real opinion. Make sure you give me a huge thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed. And thanks again for watching. Happy crafting. Bye.